Jaden, a quiet 14-year-old boy, always kept to the back row in Miss Collins's classroom. Every morning, he slipped in with downcast eyes, trying not to draw attention. Miss Collins often worried about him. She had noticed faint bruises on his arms, shadowed beneath his long sleeves. Whenever she asked about them, he would brush her off with a tired shrug. Something felt terribly wrong. Jaden's foster parents, Martin and Linda, were pillars of the community. They led charity events, attended church regularly, and seemed like the epitome of kindness. Their wide smiles and perfect manners won over the town. But Miss Collins's instincts told her a darker truth lay beneath the surface. Jaden carried a sadness that no sweet words or forced smiles could hide. One Wednesday, Miss Collins asked Jaden to stay after class. "Jaden," she began softly, "I'm worried about you. Are you safe at home?" For a moment, his eyes glistened with tears, but he just shook his head. "I'm fine," he muttered, trying to edge away. Miss Collins knew that line too well. She had heard it from other kids hiding painful secrets. The next day, she noticed fresh bruises near his wrists. When she gently touched his arm, he flinched. That was the breaking point for her. After school, Ms. Collins contacted Child Protective Services, CPS. An investigator visited Martin and Linda's home soon after. The couple dazzled the visitor with a spotless living room, hearty laughs, and a well-versed story about Jaden being clumsy. Jaden stayed silent, staring at the carpet while they insisted everything was fine. The investigator left unconvinced, but without enough hard evidence to act. Jaden's few stammered words, "I just fell," sealed the matter. At least for that day. Miss Collins refused to give up. She quietly documented every bruise and collected whispered concerns from classmates who'd overheard Martin scolding Jaden. Meanwhile, Martin and Linda grew bolder. At home, they punished Jaden for being ungrateful, sometimes locking him in his room without dinner. Jaden endured it in fearful silence, convinced no one would believe a foster kid over such model citizens. One afternoon, Miss Collins noticed Jaden limping as he entered the classroom. His eyes were red from crying. That was the final straw. She marched to the principal's office and insisted they involve the authorities again. With her detailed notes and statements from two classmates, a new social worker reopened the case. Martin and Linda were furious. They called Miss Collins a meddling busybody and threatened to remove Jaden from the school. But the district forbade it while the investigation was underway. The situation came to a head when a neighbor recorded Martin yelling at Jaden. The audio captured vile insults and the boy's sobbing pleas, combined with Miss Collins's evidence. It led to an emergency court hearing. The courtroom showdown. On the day of the hearing, rumors swirled. Martin and Linda arrived at the courthouse in pristine outfits, their posture exuding righteous indignation. Miss Collins sat behind Jaden, offering quiet support. He clutched the wooden bench, feeling small and terrified. Judge Clara Whitmore presided. Known for her stern sense of justice, she studied the file, numerous bruises, teacher logs, and that chilling audio recording. Martin's defense attorney was quick to dispute everything, painting the couple as devoted foster parents who had to enforce strict discipline on a troubled boy. When Jaden was called to the stand, he slid from the bench, heart hammering. Martin's glare pierced him like a threat. His fake, sorrowful expression deepened Jaden's sense of betrayal. "Jaden," Judge Whitmore said calmly, "we want to help you, but we need to hear the truth from you." Hands trembling, Jaden tried to form words, but fear sapped his voice. Martin's lawyer bombarded him with questions, suggesting he was clumsy and exaggerating everything. Miss Collins frowned, frustration boiling. The judge signaled the lawyer to ease up and gently asked, "Jaden, are you safe at home, dear?" Jaden stared at the scuffed wood of the witness box. Anxiety weighed him down. He glanced at Martin, whose hard eyes threatened him again. Jaden's pulse pounded. Then he remembered Miss Collins's unwavering support and the neighbor's recording. The hush of the courtroom waited for him to speak. A trembling voice deep inside him urged, "You can do this." He clenched his fists and found the courage. The words rushed out in a painful gasp. "It's not safe." The courtroom paused. Two words, "not safe." They landed like thunderclaps. Judge Whitmore's face turned pale. She leaned forward, hands on her desk. Jaden, I need you to elaborate. What do you mean by not safe? Martin's lawyer objected, claiming the question was leading. But the judge silenced him with a stern look. The entire room stilled. Tears welled in Jaden's eyes. They hurt me. They say I'm worthless. And if I talk, they'll punish me. His voice trembled, but each phrase was a release. I never wanted to lie. I was just scared. The judge studied Martin and Linda, her expression tightening. We have statements, audio, teacher logs, and now the child's own words. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, do you wish to respond? Martin shot to his feet, chest heaving. He's lying, he spat. We took him in, fed him, clothed him. He's ungrateful. Linda added, with forced tears. We only disciplined him for his own good. The judge's voice remained unwavering. Silence, she commanded. I will not tolerate intimidation of this child. The neighbor's recording was played next. The harsh words crackled through the court speakers, and the entire room collectively flinched. Miss Collins watched as the judge's reaction shifted from shock to controlled anger. When it ended, the hush that followed was absolute. Judge Whitmore turned back to Jaden, her voice gentle. Thank you for speaking up. You're brave, and this court will not fail you. She faced Martin and Linda. The evidence is irrefutable. Child Protective Services will remove Jaden from your care immediately. You face charges for neglect, emotional abuse, and possibly more. Martin erupted, pointing his shaking finger at Miss Collins. You meddling teacher. You caused this. Linda sobbed, burying her face in her hands. Bailiffs swiftly escorted them out. Judge Whitmore hammered her gavel, calling for order. Jaden slid off the stand, tears streaming down his cheeks, but a wave of relief washing over him. Miss Collins placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. It's over, she whispered. You did it. A new beginning. Outside the courtroom, news cameras gathered. Reporters shouted questions. Jaden, how do you feel? What did you say that stunned the judge? Too exhausted to answer, Jaden leaned on Miss Collins as she guided him through the crowd to a quieter exit. In the following days, the town learned the truth about Martin and Linda. People once charmed by them realized how carefully they'd been deceived. Miss Collins was hailed as a hero, but more importantly, Jaden was placed with a new foster family who specialized in helping kids who'd endured trauma. They offered patience, therapy, and stability. A week later, Miss Collins visited Jaden's new home. She found him in a small but bright room, its walls freshly painted a soothing blue. He looked healthier and less haunted. I wanted to see how you were settling in, she said, handing him a small gift, a notebook for his drawings. He accepted it with a shy smile. Thank you for everything. They sat in the living room with his new foster parents, a kind couple named the Johnsons. Jaden told Miss Collins about his plans to join the school's art club. He showed her a new sketch, far more vibrant than his older ones. I feel safe now, he admitted. Miss Collins patted his arm. You deserve that. Your courage made it happen. The next time she saw him in class, he sat confidently near the center row. Gone was the constant hunch in his shoulders. She offered him a quick smile, and he smiled back, a real one this time. News of the boy who spoke 2 words and stunned the judge spread through the school, inspiring others to speak up about their own troubles. The counselor's office saw more kids, realizing they didn't have to endure suffering alone. One afternoon, after class, Jaden lingered. He approached Miss Collins's desk and said quietly, You never gave up on me. She blinked, touched. If you hadn't pushed me to speak, I might still be there. Thank you. She swallowed a lump in her throat. That's what teachers do, she said. But you were the one who found your voice. Jaden nodded, his eyes bright with gratitude. Yeah, I guess I did, he whispered. Then he let out a small laugh. And I made a judge go pale. Miss Collins laughed softly. You certainly did. They both knew the gravity behind those 2 fateful words, not safe. A child's cry for help that shattered illusions. A turning point that set him free. Jaden's story became a reminder that sometimes A single moment of bravery can shift the balance and light the way to hope.